So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Trauma Theory. We've got contracts to talk about today. I want to speak about El Shaarawy, I want to speak about Matic, and I also want to speak about Kamara and the situation around Kamara, because I've read a few comments and I thank everyone who has commented about Kamara and actually made me understand the situation if you're watching the videos. But I've read some articles and I've finally understood why Kamara isn't playing anymore, and it's something significant. It's something definitely that we have to mention, and we're definitely going to talk about it today. But obviously it's an important week where we've got a massive week ahead. We're playing obviously on Thursday against Salzburg. I'm so excited for the Europa League to be back. I'm so excited to have these international tournaments back again. It's going to be a very hard game. Match preview tomorrow. It's going to be a fun one. Predicted 11. We're going to speak about Salzburg. So all of that will be dedicated tomorrow. So looking forward to it. Live watch along on Thursday. And Mourinho's press conference reaction on Wednesday. But today, I think we've got big news on contracts. Now that the transfer window's done, I think it's the time to focus on contracts. We've got quite a few players which need a sorting out. We need especially three players. We've got Smalling, Matic, and El Shaarawy, who have got their contracts which are about to end. Smalling, I think, will depend on top four. As much as Smalling wants to stay, I think Smalling's future really depends on top four. Matic we're going to discuss in a second, but I do want to start off with El Shaarawy. El Shaarawy is close in renewing his contract. And you know, it's fair to say he's done something very professional. I've mentioned this before, but it really deserves the credits to be mentioned again. It's something which in 2023 in the world of football, to see it happen, it's very rare. El Shaarawy wants to stay. El Shaarawy wants to stay, but Thiago Pinto has told him, I am not planning to renew your contract if the wage value doesn't reduce. And, you know, Thiago Pinto is right here. El Shaarawy has been playing recently quite a few games because of Zaniolo leaving, because of Zaniolo not having great impacts, and because all of the situation which has been evolved around Zaniolo. In fact, when Zaniolo was a Roma player, we barely ever saw El Shaarawy play. And El Shaarawy is a player which, in my opinion, Roma need to renew, because he's a player which gives impacts to games, which is something very rare to find these days. He's actually someone who bags the goals. He bags more goals than Zaniolo, and he was a substitution player. So definitely renew his contract. I disagree with Amir in the chat, because I don't think he is a crap player. There are a lot of crap players on our team, but you cannot say El Shaarawy is a crap player. El Shaarawy is a good player. Good impacts the games, and the thing with El Shaarawy, which does link onto why this is a class act, is that El Shaarawy really loves the club. However, he loves the club that much that he has told Thiago Pinto, right, I understand that the club is not in a financial situation to renew my contract if I don't reduce my wages. I fully get that. And I want to stay here, but I also want to bring the best out of the club. And you know what, Thiago Pinto, I'm going to reduce my salary. I'm going to almost half my salary in order for me to stay here. And that to me is an immediate, we have to renew his contract. Because I believe that if a player makes sacrifices for a team, if a player really shows the dedication on a team, loves a football team, then I think that no matter how good you are, you have to renew his contract. Because this links to something which I've said in the Zaniolo in the Zaniolo video, the Instagram story video which I filmed this weekend. In 2023, name me one player which does not think about money. You don't see it. You don't see it happen. And I'm not trying to be cruel here, but unfortunately that's the way. So it's already rare to see a player not think about money and reduce his salary. And the second you see a player which is willing to do that, you gotta renew his contract. Because if you don't, you're not respecting him. He's shown the love to your club. He's shown the love, to the manager, to the players, to the environment, to the fans. And he has said, right, okay, I am gonna half my salary. I'm gonna put you in a less pressurized position when it comes to the financial side. That is the reason why El Shaarawy has to sign the contract or not. That's the reason why he has to renew his contract. Because he is a player which deserves to renew his contract. There are players here like Zaniolo. I know he's left. I know we don't care about Zaniolo anymore. But the Zaniolo situation is the opposite to the El Shaarawy situation. Zaniolo wanted an increase in wages. However, he hasn't shown love to the club. And that's not what you do if you want that increase in wages. El Shaarawy has shown the love to the club, and due to the fact that he loves the club so much, he said, right, I'm not prioritizing the money. I'm already a rich guy. I don't need the money that the team offers me right now. So, I mean, it'd be great to have it, but, I'm not going to die of hunger. I'm not going to have, it's not like I'm not going to have somewhere to sleep. I'm a fortunate guy. I've got the money. Now, why do I need to prioritize it? That is the reason behind everything, which is why El Shaarawy has to renew his contract. And he is very close in renewing his contract. It could happen in the next few weeks because he said that he's willing to reduce his wages, his salary. So, and that's the only question mark which Thiago Pinto had. But apparently he said he's willing to do so. So in these next couple of weeks, I think we'll have the confirmation on the El Shaarawy new contract. I mentioned the Matic before. Matic, you see, we have a situation where renewing Matic's contract is easy because under the contract Matic signed, there were some criteria that he had to meet in order for him to have an option to renew. And he's very, very close in actually satisfying this criteria. I think much of them were kind of the amounts of games he played. And Matic has turned out to be a very vital player who Mourinho has started many times. So due to that, and as a result of that, he's very close in having that option to renew his contract. However, I think the thing with Matic is, Matic's contract is very linked onto Jose's future. Because of, Matic is a Jose player. The reason why Matic came is because of Jose. And if Jose goes to another club, nobody would be surprised if Jose calls Matic again. So I do think, okay, it can happen. It's like it's there. It's in our hands. But I think Matic will wait what Mourinho will do, because I think the two are very linked together. I think the two are very dependent on each other, and I think if Jose leaves, Matic leaves. If Jose stays, Matic stays. That's kind of how I see it. So I do think, as much as it is easy to accomplish Matic's new contract, I think he himself will want to wait what Jose decides to do at the end of the season. And that's definitely something to note down. And the third player is Smalling. Smalling. I think it just depends. I think it depends on our position. Because if we get top four, then I think he's staying. Because the reason why I think Smalling wants to leave in the first place, if he wants to leave, it's not confirmed he wants to leave, but the reason why Smalling is considering to part ways with Roma is for the only reason that, due to the fact that he's coming towards the end of his career, he wants a last great experience to play in Champions League football. And if we achieve Champions League football, he could do that in a team which loves him, in an environment which loves him. So Smalling will renew his contract if we get top four. If we don't get top four, I think it'll be harder. I think we could easily see Inter do a similar Mkhitaryan deal with us on the behalf of Smalling. But again, we shall see. We shall see how the season evolves. Because if we get top four, I think Smalling will renew. And much of these players, much of these renewal of contracts, much of players which we could buy will depend on top four. Top four is very important when it comes to the financial side, to attract big players. We've discussed this many times, but top four is not just oh, we get top four, we're a better team. No, top four brings a massive financial benefit. And not only it brings a financial benefit, it brings the attractiveness to the project. Um, and and yeah, that's why I think the real objective this season is top four. Speaking about Europa League, and I'm sure this is something which we'll mention tomorrow in the match preview. Now that we've got Europa League just over the door, over the next it's in these next couple of days. I've said this already, but Europa League is the tournament which could be the revolution of the season. But we are not the favorites. So in a way, we're just there to enjoy yourself. It's kind of no, maybe not like a holiday, but because obviously we want to succeed, we want to go well. At the end of everything, the objective, the dream is to try and win it. Obviously, you're in a tournament. Obviously, the objective is to try and win it. However, it's not going to be easy. We're not the favorites. So I think when it comes to Europa League, I think it's much of it will be enjoying yourself, making the project, the season, more valuable, making it more, giving it a higher prestige. I think the real objective is top four, and I think everyone will confirm this. I think if you ask Mourinho, he will say the same thing. It's not like I've decided this. I think top four is just so important. Bringing this team back in the Champions League is, at the end of the day, the real objective. And, it's very close. In fact, I'd actually say, as things stand, out of the 4 positions in the Champions League, I think the 2 only confirmed positions, we already have 1 confirmed, Napoli. The second one is Inter, and then the third one is Atalanta. It's going to be a big fight between the 2 Roman clubs and Milan when it comes to the 4th one. Lazio have shown that they are very inconsistent. But again, everything can happen. So Atalanta just look good. The way they play looks good. So I wouldn't necessarily cut Atalanta out of this. But, the fact that they've won against Lazio is definitely also crucial. But, everyone's there. Everyone's close to each other. That's another reason to say why we cannot underestimate games in the Serie, just like we did on Saturday against Lecce. That had to be a game that we had to win. But we didn't win. Those results happen. We'll have to bounce back this Sunday against Verona at home. But first of all, we have to think about this massive game against Salzburg not after tomorrow, on Thursday, which is very, very important. And obviously, as I said at the start, I want to touch on Kamara for a second, because we've tried to crack the code of why Kamara was out of Jose's project. We tried to answer this question many times. We're like, why the hell did Kamara start so well and then he's not considered anymore? And there's a behind the scenes that, in fact, I wasn't aware of, but I've read a few comments, I've read a few articles, and the behind the scenes is that Jose Mourinho doesn't want to start Kamara because if Kamara gets too many appearances, we will have an obligation to buy him back from Olympiacos. And I think the ownership has made it clear that buying Kamara permanently is not their objective. Because the second we buy Kamara permanently, that's already some of our budget, which we could use this summer, gone. And that does explain a few things. You look at this situation and you're like, in the first place, you're like, why did we sign him? First of all, if we're in a position that we don't want to start him because we don't want to buy him permanently, then why did we sign him in the first place? And that's a fair argument to say. But the real argument is, which is, it's fair. In a period of time where FFP is tormenting us, we really cannot be spending money on players like Kamara. Kamara was great at the start of the season. I wouldn't mind Kamara, buying Kamara on a permanent move. I wouldn't mind him. But we also need to consider that if we do buy Kamara permanently, then that's already like 10 million from our summer budget gone. So again, we have to be careful when it comes to balances. Every single stream I repeat the words financial fair play. The reality is this. We have to be so careful in who we have to buy. And apparently there was this clause agreed with Olympiacos that if Kamara goes over a certain amount of appearances, then we have to trigger that option and buy him permanently. And these are all things which we have to consider in a period of time where FFP is not helping us. So that's a solution on Kamara. But yeah, I mean, look, renewals of contracts are important. I think the priority right now is El Shaarawy, just because he's shown that he wants that renewal of contract. And the second a player shows that he wants to renew his contract, that he loves the club, the environment, the fans, then you have to do it out of his respect. He's also reducing his salary, so we have to do it. Because El Shaarawy it's not like El Shaarawy is a crap player. El Shaarawy is a good player. So I think without thinking about it twice, we have to renew El Shaarawy's contract. But yeah. I mean, Simon, who do you think wins Champions League? That's a tough question. Who do I think will win Champions League? That's a very tough question. If I had to bet some money on, it sounds crazy. I would never in my lifetime, in fact, I would have thought of saying it. But right now, the 13th of February, if I had to place a bet on someone to win the Champions League, it has to be Napoli. Again, I was watching the last 20 minutes of yesterday's game against Cremonese, and it's just, you don't explain how good they are. Words cannot describe how good Napoli is. And I struggle to find a team which right now could beat Napoli. And I know it's tough because they're unexperienced when it comes to Champions League. But I think right now, I think they're the best team in the Champions League. They're just so good. The way they play all together, the amount of goals they score, the way Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia just see each other. It's just great to watch. I hate to say, I don't know. I do not know. I never would have thought of actually saying this, but we have to be realistic. I don't want to see it happen. No, I don't. Because I think something which people don't understand, I am not sure if people understand what happens to the country of Italy if Napoli wins the league and the Champions League. Let alone just win one of the two. If they were to win even just the league, but throw in the Champions, if at the end of the season Napoli win the Serie A and win the Champions League, you have no idea what happens in the country. Like, we'd have to evacuate. It would be that dangerous. The country would be ripped apart. So, do I want to see it happen? No, I don't. Could it happen? It could. Because as I said before, I struggle to find a team which is better than Napoli right now. If I had to bet my money on three teams, I'd go Napoli, PSG, and Real Madrid. And people are probably asking, where is City? Yeah, where is City? But every single season we say City's going to win it, and they always bottle it. So, I don't know. But Napoli are big contenders, I think. Napoli are just too good. They're just too good. And you look at our performance against them, and you're actually very proud. The level of consistency that the Napoli have shown is out of this world. So I really don't know how to explain it. I don't know what Spalletti has given to his players, but that's the reality. It is. It really is. I think Napoli have a chance to win the Champions League, to win the entire thing, to win the Serie A and the Champions League. I mean, they already won the Serie A. So why not focus on the Champions League now? They've got such a big gap from the second place. They just can't not win it. They just can't. Even if they were to lose the next 3 games, they'd still have like a 10-point gap between. They won the league. Question is, can they win the Champions League? So I don't know. I think they can. Right, let me read a few comments. In the meantime, don't forget to smash that like button. Everyone in the stream, take 2 seconds to smash that like button down below. Takes 2 seconds, free of cost, and supports me a lot. That's yeah, class, says people. El Shaarawy's class. El Shaarawy is a great professional, great example. We've got this. We can maintain our top 4 spot. I believe it. I had that suspicion that it was because we may be obligated once he makes certain appearances. It's all good though. Genie's back. They play the same position. We only need one. Maddie played his part. Yeah, true. Liverpool will be good in Champions League. Klopp and team will put everything to win that trophy 100%. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And in fact, if you go and watch my Champions League round of 16 predictions, as a YouTube Shorts, I filmed it like 2 hours ago. There's a big shocker. I've said Liverpool to go through against Real Madrid. It's a shocker. It's a risk, but they just cannot not go well in the Champions League. Because if they don't, I think Klopp will get the sack. But again, we'll see what happens. Very looking forward to this not international, this European Champions League, Europa League, and Conference League with Lazio in it this week. Looking forward to it. But again, I'll catch you tomorrow for the match preview of a very important game, very fun game. So stay tuned for it. Tomorrow, match preview against Salzburg. Predicted 11, so all of that will happen tomorrow. If you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the link of my channel with your families and friends. And the last thing which I will say is that if you're feeling like you want to give a little donation to the rescue services which are working in Turkey and in Syria where the terrible earthquake happened, feel free to click the first link in the description below and pull out a donation if you want. It's a great cause and it's terrible. What the power of Earth. But yeah, I'll catch you soon. Smash the like button. Simon out.